there was one particular time where I got caught up where, now mind you, these people that I was cheating were regular people. They were reporting this to the police.
Mm-hmm.
They were making police reports about this thing. Because there was times when I had to learn, but I would tell everybody to they can move in on the same day. In Detroit and Chicago and Pittsburgh and St. Louis. There was violence.
What if financial wellness and awareness became the new standard for success?
Before watching this video, we invite you to scan our QR codes, visit our website, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
At Equity Smart is the New Cool, we're empowering generations through financial wellness and awareness. We prepare individuals with career readiness, wealth-building education, and real-world conversations. Explore our Equity Smart is the New Cool book. Tune in to our weekly podcast featuring financial and business leaders. Visit www.snewcool.com to learn more, order your copy today, and join the movement. Because when you build equity, you build freedom.
Okay, your host here, Julius L. Cartwright. Equity Smart is the New Cool, and we've been talking about the subject of real estate. Those of you know me know real estate is my space. We've covered everything from DSCR loans to investor buy and flips. We've done rentals. We've done home ownership. We've done development. We talked about just about every aspect of real estate, all of a positive nature. However, today we go in a different direction. We're going to talk a little bit about the dark side of real estate, the side that most people don't talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about scams. And it's very important that you know about this and you understand this so you don't end up being scammed, because I can assure you after this show or doing this show, you will be very surprised at which the ease some of these scams have taken place. And I have a friend of mine, a gentleman that I know and grew up with. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in the hood. Don't let the suit and tie fool you. I grew up around a lot of rough people, a very rough neighborhood. Those you live in Cleveland, East 93rd and Kinsman is where I grew up. And today I have a guest here. His name is Mark Holmes. He's also an author of a book called Scam, No Remorse: How We Took from the Poor and Kept It. And this is his book. You can pick it up on Amazon. So go out and get the book. It's $14.99, right?
Yeah.
All right. So make sure the camera catches this right here. Make sure that you get the book. Go look it up. Mark J. Holmes. And so today we're not going to just talk about the scams. We're going to talk to you about individuals, and a individual which is sitting here right now at the studio with me, who's going to talk about his experience. So Mark, let's take it from the top. Let's go.
Okay. Well, the first thing I'd like to say is that I no longer scam. That was something that I did at a younger age. It was fun at the time. It was profitable. And even for me, while doing the scams, it was a learning experience. But I have been able to take the knowledge from my scams and legitimize as far as how to stop people from scamming me. Because scamming didn't start and it didn't stop with me.
Okay. Well, let me say something. Let's back up again. So I failed to say that this is a disclaimer. We're not condoning this and supporting these particular scams. This is merely for information purposes. So as a real estate investor, as a homeowner, you become wiser as a result of getting this information. So there may be some victims that hear about this or people who have suffered similar experiences. We're certainly not condoning or beating up on those individuals based on what they may have went through or experienced, but we're sharing this as a tool and acknowledging and a teachable moment for those of you who are in real estate, you have to look at the pitfalls. You can't just look at the glamour and the glory of this guy has this many doors, he's done this many rehabs, he's done this many DSCR loans, that's debt service recovery loans, and everything is hunky-dory, and they finance and everything, you know, they walk to the bank with a pile of money. It doesn't always work out like that. In fact, for most people, it doesn't. Right, Mark?
That's correct. That's correct. You know, the thing is that for every money-making idea, as a matter of fact, there's not a company, there's not a business that exists in our society that a scam cannot be turned into. There's not a money-making idea that a person can listen to that person cannot turn into a scam. Everything can become a scam. As a matter of fact, the average business, the average company, no matter what that company is, have a little bit of scam in them. Believe me. The problem with in most cases is that people, and not just people in general, but even companies, even corporations, they look at a piece of paper as if it's a gift from God. They look at it like it's the Bible, when in fact that piece of paper is the number one tool in scamming people. You know, if a person wants to be a doctor, the right way to do it is to go to college for what, 8 years, 10 years?
Right.
I can become a doctor for $150. Same paperwork, same stamp. If I want to become a lawyer, person has to go to college for 6 years to get that paperwork, $200, I could become a lawyer. As a matter of fact, for $150, I could become a real estate broker, a real estate agent, and I could present that paperwork to a real estate company, a real estate broker, and 9 times out of 10, they will accept it without doing any due diligence. Mm-hmm. So paperwork that people hold so dear and believe in so much is the most deceitful thing that is used in deceiving people.
So walk us through your first scam, and how old were you when you completed it?
My first scam, I was 19 years old, and my victim was my mother. Now, back then, I had never used the word scam. I didn't need this word scam or con may never crossed my mind. So I guess it was just something that was in me at the time that hadn't yet came out. But what had happened was I used to give parties, teenage parties, and I was giving a party at a hotel downtown. I won't say the name of the hotel. Well, the hotel cost $650, and I gave them a deposit of $300, and I still owed them $350. Now I'm going through the day trying to think of how I can get this $350. Fortunately for me, my mother owned real estate, and from time to time she would ask me to go and pick up her rent. Fortunately for me, I was giving the party around the end of the month. So I knew that my mother picks up her rent around this time, and I needed that money. I really needed it bad. So I moped around the house, presenting myself to my mother so she could see me, so hoping that she would say, Mark, go and pick up that rent for me. Now at the time, let's go to the clock. I had to have that money in by 7 o'clock. The doors open at 8. Actually, I had to have that money in by 6. Doors open at 8. I'm at home and it's like 515, 520. Now I'm really making myself known to my mother. I'm here. Say the words. And my mother goes into the kitchen, and I walk into the kitchen. This is my last shot. I said, Mom, I'm getting ready to go, but I'll be right back. She says, oh, I need you to go and pick up that rent. My eyes just beamed. This is what I needed. So she wrote out the rent receipt for $600 and something, $650. I went and I picked up the rent, and I did not come right back. I made a beeline down to the hotel, paid them the balance of the money, which was $350, gave the party, and was scared to death. Because at 8 o'clock, nobody was around. Nobody was outside. There was nobody coming into the door. 8:30, ghost time. Now my flyer said $3 with the flyer before 9 o'clock, $5 afterwards. 10 minutes to 9, people started walking up the steps to the ballroom that I rented. I see the people coming up, and now they're coming up in groups. I look out the hotel window, and the line was around the corner.
Wow.
I gave the party. I made a nice amount of money that night. Went home. My mother was mad, but here's your money. Where were you? I had to make a stop. I had to, I had the party to give. So basically, that was a scam. But in my mind, the word scam or how to define it wasn't there. So I didn't look at it as being trickery. It's cheating my mother when in fact that's what I did.
Right.
Therefore, no lesson was learned. And I moved on. My next scam came when I was 23 years old. And at this time, scamming still had not registered in my head. And I was hired by a real estate broker. I won't say the name of the guy or the name of the company. This guy was crazy about me. I mean, he looked at me and saw great things when I didn't. I'm in my 20s. And he had me working on properties at the time. The most popular thing was FHA.
Mm-hmm.
And repairs had to be done in order for the house to get financed. So the realtor had me working on the houses. And he trusted me so much. Whatever money I asked him for, he gave to me. There was never a question. The problem was that he was giving me too many properties to work on. I couldn't keep up. But I was young and I didn't want to tell him how I was falling behind. So I concocted a scheme. You see, FHA, in order for the realtor to proceed with the properties, FHA had to receive a certification that the repairs were done, which means I do the repairs, their inspector come out, look at the repairs, stamp them, and submit the copy to the realtor.
Now, what year was this? Because for my listeners, FHA was the only game in town. You know, Federal Housing Administration. It had to be in the early, like mid-'80s or
this
something.
This was in the mid-'80s.
Mid-'80s, maybe 85 to 88, because I got licensed in 88, so it was before I got licensed.
Yes.
Yeah, because I've heard about you after that.
Yes. Well, the second problem I was having with him, which turned me to the scam, was that he was giving me so many properties, I was hiring guys who didn't have the time. And the inspector would come out and turn the property down. But the beauty part was that it would take 2 to 3 weeks for their inspection to be completed. I think about 2 weeks.
Yeah, nobody had computers back then.
Right.
Or faxes. They didn't have them.
So I was in this realtor's office getting more work, but at the same time, I'm trying to think, how can I get past these properties that were turned down? Now, they had their procedure. The realtor never looked at the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
The paperwork would be mailed in from the inspector, and once it comes to the realtor, it would go to the secretary, who would look it over, and then she would give it to the realtor's son. And the realtor's son would put his mark of approval on there, and that's my money. Fortunately for me, the realtor and his son trusted me.
Right, right.
Tremendously. So I'm in the realtor's office, and I'm looking around. I'm looking at his desk. All the while I'm thinking, what can I do? And I see a FHA approval, completion, with the FHA stamp on it. This is what I need. This is what I need.
Right, right.
So when the realtor gets up and walks out, he had a big bundle. I go to the bottom and I take 2 of them out. And what I do with that, with those pieces of paper, was a learning experience. That experience taught me the power of a typewriter and whiteout, because there were no computers.
Right, right.
I went to a supply store, an office supply store. And I went to a library. And I'm trying to figure out, I know I have to make copies, so I made some copies. So I have 6, 7 copies in front of me. But I have to put this new information in there. I don't know about whiteout, and I really don't know how to work a typewriter. So I asked this lady, I says, can you help me with this? She says, what are you trying to do? I says, well, I have to get rid of this information and type in some new information. And she says, oh, honey, you need whiteout. And she does the whiteout, and she gives me back the paper, and I put it in the typewriter. I had never typed a day in my life, and I can't line it up right. So I asked the lady, I says, can I pay you to type this stuff out for me? And she says, yeah, I'll do it for free. Now, I felt guilty, because I'm committing a crime, and she's an accomplice. I didn't feel guilty because she's the accomplice. I felt guilty because, I'm paying her, if that makes any sense.
Right, right.
I mean, she don't know that she's committing a crime with me, and I got her involved, but at the time, I could live with it.
Okay.
So she types it out. Make a long story short, she types it out. I take the stamp. When I had made the copy, the stamp was already on there, but I had to make it fresh. So I take some ink and I run it across there and hit it a couple of times. Go to the real estate office, slide it. I slid it in the secretary's file.
Stack.
Yeah. And I was getting paid every Friday. So I slid it in there. It had to be on a Wednesday. That Friday, the real estate company paid me. Now, not only was they paying me, but they were also giving me deposit, cash, to do the other work.
Wow.
So at this point, I'm getting deposits for 6, 7 new jobs, but I decided not to get any of the jobs worked on, which was very stupid, but I'm in my 20s, I'm an amateur. That worked, why pay for anything? So now every job they give me, I'm completing in 3-4 days, sliding it in her stack. She's giving it her stamp and showing it to the owner's son, and I'm getting paid. All good things have to come to an end. So after about 3 weeks or a month, they caught up with me. the owner of the company called me in. I knew why he was calling, and of course I didn't go in. But I talked to him on the phone. He says, "Hey, what's going on? This stuff is saying it's completed, and the inspection." I called the office. They said that it's not completed. I'm looking at the copies that where the inspections failed, and some of this work wasn't done at all. So I told him, I said, "You know what? It's a mistake. I'll be in there. I'm on my way." The next time I heard anything about him was about 20 or so years later. He had passed away. And that was the second scam.
How much money did you make off all those jobs that you put up, that you claim you did, but you didn't actually do?
Thousands.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, the deposits, the repairs that FHA wanted done was, we're talking about the 80s, so we're talking about $3,000-$4,000, and that's a lot.
Right.
$3,000-$4,000 in the 80s is like $10,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about $3,000-$4,000 to a 23-year-old.
Right.
And that was the deposit, and then the payoffs for monies I never ever spent. It was all profit. I regret that, because even to this day, I remember that man telling me, he said, "Mark, by the age of 25, you keep working with me, you're going to be a millionaire." His words would have been true. Maybe not at 25, maybe 26, maybe 27. But I burnt that bridge.
Yeah.
And, but even after that, which was an actual scam, scamming had not registered in my head as far as this is what I'm doing. I just did not acknowledge what I was doing as a scam. I knew what I'm doing is wrong, but the actual word and the definition of it did not register.
It didn't
in my
sink
head.
in your thought process.
Yeah. And because it didn't, I moved on.
Okay.
So, the thing is that the most inexpensive scam to run is real estate. It is so easy and costs so little. I have ran real estate scams in so many different ways, from stealing properties, using quick claim deeds, eraser-mate ink pens, to renting houses that I didn't own, to taking out loans on houses. I have flipped, and that is actually the term, without me actually owning it or doing repairs. I have flipped one house with maybe 3, 4, 5 different people, and it all comes down to the timing. I mean, since those early years, I think I was around 25 years old. 24 maybe. 24 years old. When I decided that real estate scams is easy. Now, I already had some background with my mother, collecting rent and seeing how she worked, did her properties, working with the realtor. Actually, there was another realtor I scammed, but he deserved it. But I still not gonna say his name. But working with those realtors and my mother and seeing things and working with contractors, I developed a real knowledge of real estate. I could have taken that knowledge and went legit at a young age. And at some point I did later on in life. But I don't know. I just wanted to scam. I wanted to, excuse me, I never scammed. It was never about the money. It was never about the money. You know, you have some scam artists, some con men who scam for the money, specifically for the money. And the greed is what gets them caught. For me, it wasn't about the money. For me, it was the if, or the can I possibly get away with this?
Mm-hmm.
Would this actually work?
So walk us through some of these properties you said you rented and sold. Walk us through some of those with the erasable ink and quick claim deeds and selling to multiple parties.
The first, I had moved to Detroit, Michigan when I was 24 years old. Actually, the realtor who I scammed last had a lot to do with me moving because he knew my family.
Okay.
So I had moved to Detroit, Michigan, and I had made up my mind that I wanted to try some real estate scams. And I had made up my mind that it's got to be easy to rent out houses that I don't own. That's got to be easy because I've been with my mother. I've seen people rent houses. They never asked for no paperwork or nothing. So when I went to Detroit, I was in that frame of mind. Now it comes down to how it's done. And mind you, this was back in the 80s, but it still goes on now.
Yeah, people still do it now.
You see, before I get to that, I'll say this. The difference in running these scams are the same. The same scams that worked in the 80s work in 2026, work in 2025, work in 2015. It's the same scam. The game don't change. It's how it's done that changes. You see, back in the 80s and 90s, the difference in doing the scams in the 80s versus doing the scams now was the range of people that could be reached.
Mm-hmm.
You see, back in the 80s, everything had to be face to face.
Right.
People wanted to see you face to face. You had to go into an office. You had to sit down. You had to go into you had to fill out paperwork. You had to meet people at the house. Nowadays, everything's done over the computer.
Yep, digitally.
Yes, and if I were to get back into that business nowadays, and I don't want any of your listeners and watchers to think I'm lying. If I were to get back in that business with the technology they have now today, running the real estate scams that I ran in the 80s, back then I was making between $15,000 and $20,000 a week. And back then rent was $300 to $350 a month.
Yep.
In 2015, I had fell upon some hardship and I needed some money. So I ran the scam 3 times at $1,000 rent, $1,000 security deposit. And there's a way to run that, which I'll let you know. But if I were to run the scam now with the technology out, and this is no exaggeration, I could make $1 million in 3 months. I would make $1 million easy in 3 months. Because back then, the most important tool that a person needed was paperwork. You had to forge it. You had to white out. You had to get a notary public. You needed erasable ink pen. Nowadays, it's just a computer. And if you think about it, every time you go to sign your name on one of those computer pads, you can put Donald Duck. You can just scribble.
Yeah.
And it's acceptable. When I started seeing this, it drove me crazy. I had to give myself 1,000 reasons why I shouldn't get back in the game. Now you don't even need to see the person that you scammed.
Yeah.
You don't need to see them. They don't know who I am. They don't even ask for a Zoom. You just scam them. And they just pay you. And your credentials, you just type them out online. And they read it and think I'm from heaven. I can do a bio of myself saying that I am Jesus Christ's brother. And I could type some things on there that makes a little bit of sense. But what makes sense to a few people will make sense to a whole lot of others. Because people go by paperwork. Mm-hmm. They did it then, they do it now. Then they saw it in front of them. Now they see it on a doggone computer. It's ridiculous. So
it is true.
Yes.
So go back to the $1,000 that you got on that rental property. Walk us through that.
Well, I'll go to the beginning, and I won't draw it out. When I first started doing real estate scams, I had to figure out rentals is what I started with. I had to figure out how to get a property, where to find one. And so I would drive through the neighborhoods in Detroit, Michigan. I would drive through the neighborhoods and I would look for houses with real estate signs in front of them. And I would see a house. I started off with one house. I'd see that one house and I would leave and come back with my work clothes on, sometimes a lawnmower, and I would walk around the house like I'm cleaning up or cutting the grass, and I'll go to the back of the house, and I always kept my crowbar and a long screwdriver. And from me working with the realtors and the contractors, I know how to get into a house.
Right.
Stick it right in between there and jar it in the door open, or I'll break the little back window, stick my hand in there and open it. And then I'll go get another window for it. Now once I'm inside, this is in the early stages. Once I'm inside, I would run an ad in the newspaper. And my first couple of houses, I would use my cousins or my aunts or uncle's phone. But the thing about that is I can't let them answer it. Because people, let's say I see a house on Monday. I get inside of it. I go down to the newspaper and I say I want to list my house for rent. 3-bedroom, kitchen, basement, $350 a month plus security deposit. And if I do that on a Monday and it hit the newspaper on Tuesday, Wednesday morning I'm going to have between 9 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to have about 50 calls.
Yep. That's about right today, if not more.
Yeah. So I had to hang out at the house where I got the numbers coming in for fear that my relatives would answer the phone and not know what's going on, although my relatives knew I was scandalous. So I needed another way. But before I get to that, the second problem I had was that I only had one house. So with that one house, I would set up an appointment at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and then I'd go and eat lunch. And then I set up an appointment at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. The problem is that in the beginning, my timing was wrong. I would do this around the beginning of the month or even the middle of the month. And some people would have all their money. Some people didn't have all their money. But the problem was that if I meet you at 9 o'clock and say you have it, you got your money right then. I give you the rental agreement, which I got from the drugstore. I'll get you the rental agreement, and you fill it out, and you give me your first month's rent.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, their first month rent and security deposit, $700. That's 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock appointment come around, but the 9 o'clock people are so happy they still hanging around. So there was times when there would be a collision.
Right, right.
And I would have to tell the 10 o'clock appointment, the 10 o'clock appointment would say, what's this person talking about? It's their house. Or the 9 o'clock appointment would say, well, I thought we rented a house. I would say, yes, the house is yours. Whispering, so the 10 o'clock appointment would be. I said, the house is yours, but my partner had these people come. So I'm getting ready to tell them that you've already got the house. Now, it would work a little bit better if people didn't give me all their money. But I still had to explain things. So I needed another way. So I came up with another idea. Instead of one house, 2 houses. 9 o'clock at one house, 10 o'clock at the other. 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So did you ever run into problems with like these houses? I'm assuming obviously were all vacant. So how did you ever run into problems with any realtors or the owners coming by or anything like that?
The amazing thing is that during that period of time, I never ran into a problem with the realtors, with the real estate agents.
Really?
Never ran into a problem.
Did you ever bump into any of them at the property while you were showing it?
The only people I ever bumped into, and this is when I was well advanced in the game. I mean, at this time, I would find 5, 6 properties at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But I was no longer driving around looking for them. I found a better way. And the better way was I would go to a real estate company. I would call in and I would tell them that I'm interested in renting a house. Do you have a list? Now, there was no online or anything, so I had to go in there and get it. And the secretary would say, oh, yeah, we have a list of houses. You can come in, drive by them, let us know how you like them. So now I no longer have to drive around burning gas. I've got a list from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 realtors. So now instead of 3 properties and 4 properties and 5, I'm doing 8, 9, 10 properties, the same format, but I've lessened the risk.
Yeah.
And
Spread it around.
Yes. So there was one particular time where I got caught up where, now mind you, these people that I was cheating were regular people. They were reporting this to the police.
Mm-hmm.
They were making police reports about this thing, because there was times when, I had to learn, but I would tell everybody they can move in on the same day. And there was violence on several occasions in Detroit and Chicago and Pittsburgh and St. Louis. There was violence. Twice, people got killed. People was getting shot because these people were arguing about who rented the house. So there was police reports, and and this one particular time I let greed get in my way. I had to learn 2 things. When you run a scam and it's over, it's over. You don't take on any stragglers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I took on a straggler. And I was to meet this guy at the house, this lady at the house at 11 o'clock. I like to get there early. So I get to the house and I open up just something told me, I always knock. I go knock, and I open up the door and there was 2 police detectives in there.
Wow.
Waiting. So when I walked in, I looked up at him. I was like, Mr. Johnson, I'm the one I talked to you on the telephone about renting the house. The cops looked at me and they looked at each other. Was like, I'm not Mr. Johnson. Who are you? And I told them a fake name. And they said, what are you doing here? I says, well, I talked to the guy on the phone. Was that you? I'm here to rent the house. Now, mind you, the lady that I'm actually meeting is on the way. So all of this timing has to be done right. So the detective's looking at me strange, and I'm looking at him. I was like, what's the problem? I looked at my pocket, said, I got the security deposit. And he was like, sir, this is a fraud. We're trying to, the guy who you spoke with is cheating you out of your money. So I says to the
And you acted out, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I says, no. What do you mean trying to? I said, that was you. You sound like the guy. He was like, no, sir, it wasn't me. This is the detective. I was like, my wife is on her way here, and we were planning on moving in here. Now I'm speaking on the lady that I'm getting ready to fraud. So he says, your wife? I says, yes, she's on her way here. I says, well, what can I do? Can I give you guys the money? Because now I want to be a citizen like I don't know nothing. I says, can I give you the money? He says, no, you can't. It's a fraud. You can't give anybody. You need to stop your wife. So I go out on the front porch. The lady's pulling up. And I walk out to the car. I don't even let her park good. I walk out to the car. I says, Miss, and I would just say Smith. I said, Miss Smith, we have plumbing problems at the house, and the house can't be shown right now. So I have my real estate broker here on the porch, because the detectives have on suits. I says, my real estate broker is here, so I'll give you a call and let you know. And she pulls off, and I look at her, and I go and I get in my car, and as I'm pulling down the street, they run out to the curb, but they just staring at me because I guess it hit them. That was the guy. That's about the closest call I got renting out houses.
Did you stop after that?
Oh no. As I said before, I moved on. I learned the game better. I started going from city to city. I started off in Detroit. I went to St. Louis. I went to Baltimore, but the way Baltimore houses are, you can't get no money up there. You get robbed. And St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Chicago, all over the East Coast.
Okay.
I would go to a city, I would rent a motel room, I would go to the realtor, call the realtor up and tell him. That was my thing. That's how you get houses.
Did you get any lockbox codes out the realtor back then?
They didn't use lockboxes back then.
Right, okay.
They didn't use lockboxes back then. I supposed to you just drive by the house. If you like it, then you call and somebody meet you.
Right.
And there was times when I would call them and set up an appointment, but I would make sure the appointment wouldn't collide with my scan. Mm-hmm. That way I could keep an eye on, I would know when they're possibly coming.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I was always able to keep them off of me. So I did that for 2 years. And I had to stop because there was just too many police reports. And I didn't wear disguise. So back then I had a little tooth that was very recognizable. And on all of these police reports, it was the same guy in all of these different cities. Now, because I was getting these lists from the real estate companies, I was going through dozens of houses at a time, maybe 20, 30 houses before I decided to get the hell out of Dodge because the heat was on me. It was in the newspaper. It was on the news. I finally got arrested when I went back to Detroit, Michigan, and I got greedy. And I got arrested. And when I got arrested, that's the first time I found out the legal end of that. The crime is called false pretense. It's and based on the amount of money, it turns into a felony real easy. And I'll put it like this: I was facing 140 something years.
Wow.
And when I went to court, they had the news, all the news channels was there, the newspaper. People were outside. I mean, these people wanted to put my neck in a noose. The reverends and the bishops and the churches were on television. People were crying, saying, "I gave him my last. Now me and my children," and it was horrible. It was horrible. So the judge couldn't have this. I mean, it was huge. This was in Detroit, Michigan. You can look it up. It's in the archives. It was huge. So the judge gave me a court date 3 months from that date. And I'm in my 20s and I have to spend the whole winter in jail. So as spring came, my mother would come to see me. My mother came, this time when she came, she went to see the judge. And she had a conversation with the judge. And according to what she told me, the judge told her that he has to go to lunch in 1 hour for her to give him $100 and he would let me out. And apparently my mother gave him $100 because a couple of hours later they were calling my name. Mark Holmes, pack it up.
Wow.
But there was a catch to it. The judge did hold a closed court, where nobody was there, not even my mother, just him and somebody typing, whatever they call, stenographer. The catch to it was that he put me on 60 years probation.
60 years?
And $200 and some thousand restitution.
I never heard of that.
Yeah. I got out and I had to immediately go to the probation officer. And here's the catch. When I go to the probation officer, the probation officer sit me down and says, gives me some paperwork. Now I'm 25, 26. Gives me the paperwork and says, sign this. And I signed the probation officer. You have any money? I says, white guy. I says, no, not yet. He says, all right. He says, sign this. I signed it. He looked at it. He says, okay, Mr. Holmes, you are no longer on probation. Your probation is over. But here's the stipulation. You have to leave Detroit, Michigan today, right now,
Wow.
and never come back. It didn't dawn on me then until I was in the car with my mother. And I told my mother what the probation officer said, because she was shocked that I'm off. And my mother says, yes, they're telling you that you have to leave now, because if the press or the media find out about this court case and you're out with probation, and let's say one of these people run across you, they're going to figure this whole thing out. That the judge did something that he didn't supposed to do. He let you go and dropped 120 cases of false pretense for $100 lunch money.
So bad, man.
Well, you don't want to say it wasn't bad.
I mean, I know I'm saying she's sharp to go in there and get a judge to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back then.
Did she read your book?
No, my mother passed in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Well, the
God
thing
bless.
is that back then in Detroit, Michigan, drugs was starting to hit heavy.
Yeah, it was heavy in the 80s, early 80s.
And I
90s.
was black anyway, and where it was a big deal because even politicians was on TV talking about me. So I had to get out of town, and I left, but I came back, and this time I ran my scam. Before I went back, I decided that the rental scam was good money, but it's trouble. Right around this time, as in my book, Reaganomics was kicking in. The black community, the rural community, all communities were suffering. And the real estate business was suffering bad. I mean,
Yeah, that's when they had the 2020 interest rates and inflation and all that stuff.
yes. But there was a lot of money moving. As in my book, Scams, No Remorse. The rich people were buying up every inner city house that was going into foreclosure. I mean, they wanted them all, because at that time, in most cities, property values, it went down to, you could buy a house for $2,000-$3,000. In Detroit, it went all the way down to $500.
Yeah, Detroit was real cheap.
So, it's like that billionaire said, and that's in my book. The best time to buy is when there's blood in the streets.
That's right.
And that was my frame of mind. To buy where there's blood in the street. I mean, but my thing was that I didn't actually want to buy. I just wanted to benefit from the blood in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
The way to do that is own a property. And as I'm looking through the newspapers, I started off in Pittsburgh. As I'm looking through the newspapers, I noticed I was in Detroit. The first thing I noticed was these ads saying, I buy houses for cash.
Right.
There was a lot of them. You buy houses for cash. All I need is a house or two. How do I get me a house? Well, I researched. And I found out, for the first time in my life, I called a realtor up. And I was having a discussion with the realtor, not face to face. Realtor didn't know me. I'm interested in buying a house. I want to buy it for cash. Do you have properties for sale? Yes, we have a list again of houses that you can go by and look at. So my second question was here to him was, well, are these houses have liens on them? Are they free and clear? He says, no. He says, some of them have foreclosures, which we can work out. He says, but a lot of them, my company and associate companies have purchased these houses and we're selling them. So no, they do not have mortgages on them or liens. Interesting. Very interesting. Now I have a list of houses with no liens on them. So now I need to own these houses. How can I do that? Quit claim deed. Now the thing about a quit claim deed is that in order for me to register a quit claim deed, let's say you're the owner, I have to be the owner to get it notarized. So in order to accomplish that, I needed an eraser-made ink pen. What I would do, I would take that quit claim deed, I would fill out that property address, I would sign that paperwork as that quit claim deed as you selling the house to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's me selling the house to you.
Right.
That way I would go to the notary, and it showed the notary my fake ID, and the notary would look at it, stamp it, fill it out. Then I'll take it down to City Hall, and for $15 in 3 days, that house belonged to me. I don't care who researched it. It's my house. This still happens today. There are companies out here today, I won't mention them, but you can see their commercials. They specialize in protecting your property.
Mm-hmm.
They would tell you on the television commercial that a person will take your property and take out loans.
That's right. It's just like identity theft. They got property theft with people taking the properties.
The same thing that they're doing today, I was doing in the 80s. The difference is now they use computers. I had to do the legwork. You see, so the scams, it goes back to what the scams don't change. Just the way to do it do. And the people are still gullible, even the companies. Because I went from using a quick claim deed to take over one house to taking over 10 houses. I went from selling houses that I stole to one person to selling them to multiple investors. And I went from selling, let's say I'll take 5 houses and sell them to one investor in a bulk. While that paperwork is going through for him, I'll take that same house and sell it to 2 or 3 and 4 more people. So if this guy gave me $5,000 for 4 houses, 4 or 5 other people then gave me the same thing.
Yeah, you're stacking that money.
And they'll never find, they won't find out for weeks, maybe even months, because back then you had to wait for everything to come through the mail.
Yep, after it was recorded. We don't have what we have now.
Everything. So while you're waiting, I'm scamming.
While people are waiting, he's scamming. And we're going to come back to next. We're going to have you back on a part 2 episode. But here's the book. You can pick it up on Amazon. Make sure you go and check it out. I hope you're picking up some tidbits from this conversation. Again, we are not endorsing this activity. We do not perpetuate and suggest that you use this as a part of building your wealth strategies as far as Equity Smart is the new cool. But we do want you to raise the antenna to be aware of fraud and to be able to investigate it, to be able to challenge it, so you don't become a victim to a scam, courtesy of Mark Holmes. So thank you for joining this episode, and we'll be back with part 2. Looking forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate your time and hope today's message inspires you to take the next step toward financial wellness and awareness.
We invite you to visit our website and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us grow because we share videos that deliver valuable knowledge.